Hi, I'm Samantha with Evology Yoga. Today we're going to be going over legs up the wall pose in a yin and restorative version. So for yin, we're not using as many props. We are mainly focusing on breaking up the connective tissue in our body and helping with mobility. Whereas in restorative yoga, we are coming into a deep relaxo state. So we want total support of our bodies through props, blocks, bolsters, blankets, pillows, straps, whatever you have. If you're practicing at home, kind of using what you have. And if you're at your yoga studio, just maybe grabbing what they have for your practice. So today we're going to set our mat out from the wall, and for our yin practice we're going to start by using the blanket. This gives about an inch height from your low back and sacral area, so just being very careful getting in and out of this pose. It can be very awkward to get into, and some motions that you have to make to get your alignment correct. So first, we're just going to come to sit on the edge of our mat alongside of the wall. And when you're ready, coming down onto your forearms, leaning back and scooching your bottom and kind of throwing your legs up the wall very gently. And when you come in here, just making any minor adjustments that you need to, maybe moving your blanket or your blocks or your bolster, extending your legs up the wall and coming into stillness, finding your breath and feeling this stretch here. This stretch is very good for alignment. During the day, we're hunched over, we're making awkward motions with our body, and so this is just kind of getting us back into our alignment and getting back into a straight position here. So taking our blanket, and if you can and it feels good, taking the feet, your bottoms of the feet to the wall, bending your knees, and just lifting your hips enough just to remove a block or a blanket. I wouldn't suggest doing that with a bolster just because it is a little thicker. But I'm gonna take my block on the low setting here. And so I have a flat surface to stick, to place under my low back or sacral area. And I just wanna make a couple small motions here so that my hips are as close to the wall as possible and that are comfortable for me here. If it feels good, once you've placed the block underneath of your low back, you can also take a block. I would start on the low setting since we're not at an angle and we don't want our spine out of alignment. So taking this block, just placing it underneath of your head where it curves down into your spine, making minor adjustments here. Okay, and coming into rest. Maybe bringing your hands out to your side. This can also be considered a restorative version of the legs up the wall pose as well. So just taking your version and holding for about 3 to 8 minutes here, depending on your comfort level, depending on your range of mobility, and the time you have for your practice as well. So from here, we're going to lift up the head, just enough to remove the block, slowly lower down, bringing the bottoms of our feet to the wall, lifting up in the hips, removing our block here. And to get out of this pose can be also a little awkward, so I'll give you some instruction on that as well. Bending your knees, Bringing the bottoms of your feet to the wall and just slowly rolling over to one side, using your arm to help push yourself up. Kind of scooch away from the wall and come into a seated position. Or maybe coming into a tabletop position and moving into another pose for your practice, whatever you're comfortable with here. So moving into a restorative version of this pose, again, we talked about using the blocks and we talked about using the bolster as well. Definitely for a yin practice, we want to use either the blocks or the blanket, a lesser relaxive pose, whereas restorative, we want to completely relax, cleanse our mind, and just let our body be supported by our props. So what we want to do here with our bolster, we're going to tuck it up to the wall, and we're going to come again seated alongside of the wall here, and we're gently just going to lean back the best you can, swinging our legs up the wall, using your hands to guide you. And if it feels good here, and if you need a little bit more room in your bolster, taking your block on the tall setting and match the height of the bolster, making minor adjustments and coming to rest here. As soon as you get into this pose and are comfortable here, you should feel the release from your hips, any tension or tightness, and then also from your shoulders, kind of wrapping around that bolster and opening up. When you're ready, coming out of the pose, just being very careful since we have some extra height. Again, lifting up, removing a block if it's underneath of your head, and slowly and gently rolling over to one side and coming up into a seated position. Thank you for watching today's video on legs up the wall pose in yin and restorative versions. I hope this helps you, and I hope to talk to you soon. Thank you.